Welcome back to BLOCKTV and what is Blockchain on Booze, that part of the week where we gather all the wheelers and dealers of the sphere and try to get to answer questions while staying sober. And of course, joining us today, a very powerful panel from, Nir Hirschman from Nir Hirschman PR. Hello to you. With us as well, Lokay Cohen, Vice President at Bittax. Glad to have you back. Ilona Viv, decentralization consultant and entrepreneur.
Cheers.
Yes, salute. And Avia Arika, the one and only from Avia Innovative Law. Hello.
Hello.
And of course, we're sitting here, we're recording this a day after the big finale, the big Game of Thrones finale, which there's one person on the panel who saw it, and we will kill you if you say a word. The only thing that I just want to say, the power of crypto is explained to me by Avia earlier today, is that she managed, because we're not sitting right now in the United States, we're in an undisclosed location, but she managed to watch it straight on HBO. Tell us how.
Yeah, so, okay, I said I want to watch Game of Thrones, not streaming, and I don't have VS, so like directly on HBO. I want to feel like the whole American experience thing. So then, you know, I downloaded a VPN and okay.
As one does.
Now I can access the HBO website, but I don't have an American credit card. So what do I do now? So I saw the gift card option and I said, okay, I'll buy a gift card and use it to access the subscription. And then you go to the gift card, you know, the Target and all the websites that are selling gift cards, and they are only accepting American credit cards, or you can pay on BitPay with crypto.
Woo!
And so I got my gift card, and I got my HBO subscription, and I got to watch Game of Thrones on HBO.
That is
we saw that bump on the.
And the thing, I mean, that's the power.
It's you. So big and jump a little bit. Yeah.
No, that's the power of crypto, and I just want to say to the one person here who did see it, you know nothing. Okay. Let's move straight ahead to our first subject. Bitcoin, BTC actually, reaches 20 million people with a 60-minute report, with a 60-minute recap. So it happened, so it seems. Bitcoin has made it into the mainstream media, and not in a controversial headline. Taken on editorially by none other than 60 Minutes, the mammoth CBS investigative show, known for its prestige journalism history, broadcast a 13-minute piece on crypto. In a report by Anderson Cooper, of both CBS and CNN, the currency is explained and then some. So let's, before anything else, take a look at the 60-minute overtime clip on the report, from the report, Bitcoin's Wild Ride.
What is a cryptocurrency?
A cryptocurrency is a, let's see, how do I do this?
Because if you can't describe it,
I know, I'm trying to think about the best
Andy,
way.
you and Anderson Cooper reported on the cryptocurrency Bitcoin. Reporting this story, as I understand it, was sort of an odyssey. Was it a difficult topic to grasp?
Yeah. Almost everyone knows the word. And it's amazing it's kind of become part of our lexicon now. But most of us don't really know what it is.
Okay.
Anderson's trying to figure out what it is in your interviews. Is sort of a...
One of the joys was kind of watching Anderson try to wrap his mind around this thing.
There's no actual coin.
That is true. That is something that trips people
I know
up.
this is a dumb question, but I can't get past that.
It took me a little while too.
I'm so antiquated, I can't imagine things that do not have a physical component.
It's really abstract for a lot of people.
Don't patronize me.
You spoke with Neha Narula. Would she help clear some things up for you?
I mean, I think Neha is very good at bringing things back to earth.
Can you buy portions of a Bitcoin?
Oh yeah, you can buy a very small amount of a Bitcoin.
So who made Bitcoin?
When you ask about the creator, who created this, who invented this, they must be a real genius. Everyone's like, we have no idea.
Satoshi Nakamoto.
Satoshi Nakamoto.
Satoshi Nakamoto is a fake name for somebody.
It's the name that appears on the paper.
Were you able to learn anything more about who Satoshi Nakamoto is?
No.
Did you try?
A little, but really, I mean, it's just mission impossible.
He's a myth. I mean, he doesn't, no one knows who he is. Some people have claimed to be Satoshi Nakamoto, but we have not seen any definitive proof.
People communicated by email with Satoshi. Laszlo Hunyat's one of the people in our story has told us he communicated by email with Satoshi.
Yes, I did. I corresponded with the inventor.
Do you know who he or it is?
I do not.
What did you talk about?
Just talk shop, really. You know, hey, I can't get this code to work.
So there was a period when people were talking to Satoshi, they were working out the technical problems, they were revising the code.
Has Satoshi been communicating with anyone lately?
No, there was a point where Satoshi just stopped, just faded away.
I understand Satoshi is sitting on a small fortune that has not been redeemed.
Right. Beyond the mystery of who this person actually is, Satoshi Nakamoto, is the question of why not touch any of this money?
Well, I mean, people are keeping track of his Bitcoins, you know, because they know that he mined all the early blocks and he hasn't spent them.
Really?
Yeah, they're still there. None of them have been touched. So, you know, some people think he's dead. Some people think he's just laying low. But because it's not owned or controlled by anyone, it truly belongs to the internet. It belongs to everyone. And it's almost like Satoshi came and gave us Bitcoin as a present and just kind of left.
First of all, high production value, by the way. I want to start with the most interesting thing to us, to me particularly, is that, you know, it's 60 minutes. The report, I urge you guys to see, it's 13 minutes. It's very well done. It's also very safe. Charlie Shrem is in it, and the Bitcoin birth, whatnot, but they leave it very open. As you hear at the end, it can either crash or disappear. What do you think?
I think that Bitcoin as something, as a cryptocurrency or blockchain technology, has this kind of a myth that derives from the whole Satoshi Nakamoto thing. But I think when you look past it, you can see that it's just an open source system that works. And that's something, and because that whole Satoshi Messiah thing is going around, it really fascinates the media. So the media looks at it as some sort of a religion. But actually, if we're asking ourselves, who's Linus Torvalds? Linus Torvalds is the guy who invented Linux. Almost every computer that surrounds us, so even those screens in this studio, is being powered by Linux. Are we fascinated by Linus Torvalds? No, we're not, because it's just somebody who developed something who is open source, and now it's owned by the community.
I think the mystique of Satoshi is the fact that we don't know who he is. That this thing was brought into the world, and we don't know who he is. And you're making a very valid point. I'm wondering, though, with the rest of you, when they say this could either last or crash, and this is mainstream media, you have to remember, this is 60 Minutes, CBS, it doesn't get more mainstream than this. But they're putting themselves in the safe point. This whole thing might disappear, and they're talking specifically in the piece, in the full piece, about it being a replacement of money.
That's why the Messiah image is there, because it's not, I don't think we would be this excited, or the mainstream media would be this excited if it was just about a thing that's going to power everything.
If it was just the technology,
if it was just the blockchain, nobody was would have been this excited. But the fact that the paradigm shift about how the economic system works, and the possibilities of banking people in a whole different way, and banking people that were not able to be banked, this is what excites the mainstream media. And I think a lot of
I'm not equating Venezuela to your ingenious way of watching Game of Thrones, but I am saying what you did was to circumvent the stops in place of transferring your currency to get the goods that you want back.
Exactly.
Right?
And to circumvent any geographical limitations.
Borders, right? Yes. Essentially.
Yeah, and it's a little bit more than that. I think Sherman,
Charlie Shrem?
No,
Sherman, the congressman.
The congressman. He actually got it. Yeah, he got it. He got it. This is a threat to the U.S. sovereignty and to the U.S. hold of everybody, of the world's money supply. And this is the big, let's say, revolution, because before Bitcoin, you couldn't really think of a decentralized system where nobody really owns anything, and the system has value, like actual value that can be measured in US dollars. And right now, it's sort of like a philosophical change. This is the way I see it. Decentralized systems, and you couldn't have that before. This is where the whole fascination comes from, and this is where, this is why it's so difficult to grasp. How can there be something with no one that controls it or no one that owns it?
I'm wondering, please.
What we are seeing in this movie
is the hard. This is very hard for people to understand that Bitcoin is not out there. It's not. You cannot touch it.
Touch
it's not
it.
like
That's the thing that drives people crazy.
Exactly, and this is why it's so hard for them to relate to Bitcoin. And this is the main problem of Bitcoin, okay? And this is remind me the movie of Banking of Bitcoin when he sits
Banking
there.
of Bitcoin, the documentary.
Exactly.
Right.
He sits there with 3 old ladies and trying to explain them what is Bitcoin, what can you do with it? You cannot do with it nothing practically, okay? But this is the beginning. This is the first adoption period, okay? This is what they are not saying just in the few minutes that
In the few minutes that you saw.
Yeah.
They are arguing that, but it's an interesting point that you're making. There's the MIT woman from the blockchain MIT Development Center there, says to Anderson Cooper at the beginning, she explains to him the value of money, that money has value because we believe it has value.
Yep.
Okay.
I also think that's exactly.
And that's essentially it now. And the battle here is that we need more people to believe that Bitcoin has value, right?
It's also
Exactly.
a generational thing.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Because the older generation is going to have problems. One, accessing and using those systems and this method of payment, as long as it is not user-friendly enough. You know what, I don't know, my grandmother had problems, transferring money from her online or phone banking system. So I believe that the older generation is one,
I know, but
not,
are we going to wait for those people to die for it to be adopted?
No, but
it doesn't make sense.
millennials
Look at the older generation. They are now on Facebook. They're now on WhatsApp. They're
No, but
started getting
the conceptual difficulty of what is it?
Right,
I can't
but this
understand
is
it. I don't
the
want to
same
use it.
thing that happened with Facebook and with WhatsApp. And now when they're started
But
to
this is their
say-
money. This
Okay.
is their money. On Facebook, they have to upload a picture. Okay, this is me. I may not look
you're-
as good.
But
You're right.
just like no one really understands how the US dollar works or how it's
Our
money's
simple
being
credit card
printed.
is working, for the matter of
Yeah,
fact.
it's just going to
Yeah.
work. And let's say, I don't know, hopefully in 20 years we're
It
going to be
needs to be
using it.
easy to be.
And actually, in the past few days, we've heard about a startup that managed to make to develop a bot that works on WhatsApp, and you don't even need to download a wallet. You can just transfer Bitcoin through WhatsApp through just commands.
Yeah.
So it's like it's a really interesting thing. I think the whole thing is about adoption, because if somebody downloads a payment app, then he's like, okay, that thing is going to work. Everybody adopted the whole plastic thingy that you swipe or you put in a machine and it just transfers the money. And it's a wonder. There are no banknotes, there are no coins, there's nothing.
And you're still upset
But I
when
do
you lose
think,
that
I do
card.
think,
And you're still upset. But so the notion of an intangible coin already exists. But I think what's very important here is 2 things. First of all, as you said, the exposure is very important, because if they're saying that something might be there or might not be there, first of all, they're saying that
They're talking about, that's a very
there.
true point. On a very mainstream mega, there was a report today that Bitcoin has been Googled so many times since this report that it made it available information-wise.
And we're talking about a show that's being aired after the 2017 hype. And I think just one more thing. I think the whole thing is about mashup stuff. When you're thinking about the first iPhone, and you're thinking about Steve Jobs showing that iPhone, he's saying it's a network, it's an internet communicator, it's a phone, and it's an internet communicator. And if you're looking at Bitcoin, you're looking at the internet and open source revolution combined with the whole monetary system, and that's the mashup that gives it the power.
But also
But
scares people.
there is also, I think that people, we like to say people don't trust banks. I disagree. Most people trust their bank more than they would trust any cryptocurrency exchange or even a licensed one, because again, the more traditional cut of the population trusts their bank and prefers that their money be held by a bank, and that brings us to a problem that the incumbents are sort of taking. I think that what's happening now, and you can see it with Facebook and a lot of things that are happening, the incumbents will take over the big crypto outlets and the big crypto user databases, and then we won't make any actual progress because we're gonna.
You think?
I disagree, and I think
That would impede it because
you're talking about
it
like,
brings you back to the same frameworks.
yeah, but you're talking about putting your money on an exchange. Like, people don't trust banks, don't trust exchanges. The whole point of this is that you don't need to trust anyone. You
I
only
disagree
need to
with
trust.
you.
But it's not like that.
I
Let's
think
go
the whole
back to
point-
reality. It's not happening.
The whole point
We're
is
not in a
that
decentralized economy yet.
We need
It's not
regulation. This is it. We need regulation. I'm sorry, people. I know you don't like it,
No,
but we
it's
need
true.
regulation.
But isn't there a danger with regulation? And that's my question exactly to what Avia is saying, that the more regulation in place, the more the old system will then make use of this new
There
form.
is a catch-22 here because I mean regulation to be regulated and to reach an enormous database of people, you need a lot of money, and so the really innovative and disruptive startups sometimes they reach a block road where they can't be regulated properly to become as big as.
You're right. You're right.
No, and I'm for regulation, and I think that without regulation, no market can flourish.
You're right, but there is now the big exchanges that there are no crypto regulation on these exchanges. You don't know where you're spending your money. You don't know
They
what
probably have fractional reserve. They're just a bunch of scammers, most of them. There's so
Funny
much shady
money,
shit going
yeah.
on.
And this is why people have trust issues with bitcoins, okay, with crypto, and you can see this on this film. So we have to clear the air. We have to let the regulator come in, even if we don't like it. And you have to. It's doing it for us. It's doing it to protect our money that's inside these exchanges.
But this is something global. If you want, you're going to have to put global regulation.
It's
Of
not gonna
course.
happen. No,
And
but
that's
not
never
gonna
going to happen.
That's
China
not gonna happen.
It's
and
gonna
the
be
US
state by
and
state,
Russia
country
are
by
never
country.
going to agree.
But if you're looking at regulators always go to the place where it's more comfortable to work in. So
Like
meaning,
Malta?
meaning that no, we're talking about regulators.
Regulators.
Meaning that they will regulate cryptocurrency, but they won't regulate banks. They do regulate banks, but they won't work against bank monopolies. They're not working against the big internet firms that are now, they have big powers. I guess we'll talk about it later, but it's something that even overshadows the whole concept of nation state. We've been talking about it a lot in this show, but this is something very, very, very big. Mm-hmm. So what I'm looking for is, you're right about the regulators, but I want to see the regulators work against the strong people of the world, the strong
banks?
Yeah,
That
the
too will never
banks,
happen.
banks, internet firms.
As much as I hate the banking system as much as everybody is.
I mean, it could have happened after 2008
Yeah.
and it didn't.
But when you
That's
put
the
your
thing.
money in the bank, you know who are the owners of this
Ernst
bank.
the effect?
Yeah, no, you know there is transparency in the banking system. There is the Federal Reserve. There is all the bodies they have to. Sorry about that. They have to. Yeah, the regulator. They have to supervise it. Okay. Mm-hmm. And in crypto exchanges, this does not happen. You do not know who owns it, and on what do they spend your money, on what do they invest.
But this is going to end.
But
it's going to end.
Do you know why it's going?
In the EU, the 5th AML directive is coming into force January 20, and this means that there's no more anonymous onboarding of clients in exchanges as far as the EU goes.
They're attempting. They've begun.
Bitfinex still works, actually.
Exactly. This is what I'm saying.
The reason this will end is because this is going to be completely free markets, and they're going to be completely reputation based. And once you know that an exchange is, you don't know who runs it, you don't have any record of.
You're not going to touch it.
Then
you're not going to touch it.
But you shouldn't touch it right now.
It has a name.
If what you know is true, you should not touch it.
You know what? Look,
I think those ideas.
Right now.
I think those ideas has a name. It's called Techno utopians. It means we all thought when we saw the whole internet revolution starting, and we saw Google, everybody was like, yeah, it's gonna save us, to do no harm thing. It's gonna spread democracy everywhere. And what did we get? We got the
Russian bots.
We got Russian bots. We got the new version of the KGB. We thought we got the Arab Spring, but we got the Islamic
But
winter.
there's a difference between, let's say, 2001, where the revolution was based on intellectual property and and court orders.
Look
and,
at how that
and
how
stuff
well
like
that
that.
went.
And
Wow.
right now
very
it's
good.
based on open source. You don't like it, fork the code and compete with anything, with everything in this industry.
Yeah, but that's nice as a theory, but in reality, think that again, you're not going to be big if today, if you want to be fully decentralized, you can't grow. You can't. It's a fact. You cannot grow. And you know what?
Slowly.
Privacy died right, right.
privacy is
on-
not-
Guys, but you're raising fabulous points. I want to move into the sphere that we're in because you all said it, apropos social media giants. If we're talking about mass adoption, Facebook is coming. A watershed moment for crypto, for the crypto sphere? Question mark. This is actually from CoinDesk, okay? This week they were referencing a Reuters report. Facebook registered, I'm quoting, a new company, Libra Networks, in Geneva at the beginning of May. Now this coincides with the very slow, but we all have been talking about these rumors, the very slow rollout of their internal cryptocurrency that will define the company's first foray into blockchain technology. Facebook's march towards crypto has been slow and steady. The company's latest move, hiring 2 Coinbase compliance managers, also in May, shows that. But the rumors and reports of the moves Facebook is making, the blockchain world, and the possible, big reveal we're all waiting for at a certain point, is getting a lot of people upset. It's also ruffling a lot of feathers in Washington. U.S. lawmakers sent an open letter to the company, to Facebook, seeking clarification on the currency's purpose and implication if they launch a currency. That's what they wrote to Facebook from Congress, from Washington. I'm quoting them. The Wall Street Journal recently reported that Facebook is recruiting dozens of financial firms and online merchants to help launch a cryptocurrency-based payment system using its social network. Last year, to remind you all, Facebook asked U.S. banks to share detailed financial information about customers. In addition, privacy experts have raised questions about Facebook's extensive data collection practices and whether any of the data collected by Facebook is being misused. Now, Washington, D.C. is concerned about Facebook launching a coin. That's essentially what it says to me. I personally, too, am concerned.
But it's just for privacy reasons. It's not.
For privacy reasons.
Yeah.
That's the concern of Washington.
So what you see here from a techno-utopian
It's
point
not
of
only
view,
privacy.
you're to think that the blockchain revolution will actually bring freedom and will bring more privacy to the world. But actually what happens is that a big, very giant corporate is taking this revolution and making it a means of control.
Hold on.
Now,
Exactly.
now if you're looking at, just let me finish the point. If you're looking at Facebook, Facebook has already conquered the whole advertising market across the globe. And now they want to own the banks. They want to be the credit cards companies. I think that
I personally don't like how Facebook
I think that
is
the
working.
Washington legislators are worried for a very, very, very good reason, because if they won't dismantle, if the American legislators won't dismantle Facebook, Facebook will dismantle the United States. They will have more power.
Okay, so I agree about this, and this is going back to Senator Sherman. He's talking about this cryptocurrency is threatening U.S. sovereignty. And will the U.S. government let Facebook threaten its sovereignty? Once it gets to that point, the U.S. government will just shut them down.
Facebook is making a joke out of the U.S. sovereignty, with all due respect. Facebook is the most unregulated giant that exists
Until
today.
they start biting where it
I don't
really
know
hurts the
until
United
what,
States.
But the fact is, there is an act called the Federal Credit Reporting Act, and
that's the thing, the Fair Credit Reporting Act, right?
The Fair Credit Reporting Act,
which
that's true.
Facebook should be
And
subject
now,
to.
And now Facebook, not only Facebook, it's a joke that the only entities today that are subject to this act are entities that have made it their main business to report on people's credit data to lenders, etc. But in reality, Facebook has much more data than Equifax or any other credit.
It has everybody's
credit
data.
data
Shouldn't you
collector.
expect it? Our user Facebook should expect privacy. If you're sharing your data with Facebook, do
know
not
what?
expect any
If
privacy.
you're very naive
And if
today,
you're-
maybe you should. But if you're a realistic person, then you shouldn't. But
If you're buying-
the problem here grows that Facebook is not only, okay, when I give my data to Facebook and I know that I have no privacy, I'm not deluding myself, fine. But when if Facebook becomes something like WeChat Pay, okay, or something like that, a social network that turns into a payment
The
channel.
reason WeChat Pay works is because it's part of the Chinese government. I lived in
And
China.
I would
and
say
this-
that Facebook is a part of the U.S. government in some way. I'm sorry,
not
but
in the same
that's
way.
not very far-fetched to say, okay? Because Facebook and the U.S. government, I don't know anything, okay? I don't have any inside information, but I'm
Conspiracy
sure
theory,
that they are
okay.
much less divided than you think they are.
No, I
And-
think Mark Zuckerberg's feelings of grandeur is way
No, I
past
think that the
US
US
Yeah, but
government.
come on,
Government
guys.
needs Facebook.
Everybody, look.
The
One can say
NSA
that Mark Zuckerberg has feelings of grandiose. Any powerful man in charge of such a corporation. We can say the same thing about Michael Bloomberg. We can say the same thing about Justin Sun. You know, people who reach that amount of power do think highly of
The
themselves.
U.S. government doesn't hesitate to use an agency like the NSA to the vast amount it is being used, to the extent that New York hotel rooms are being mic'd and people don't even know about it, then I don't know, we can expect anything.
Do you think the U.S. government can shut down Facebook?
No.
No.
Today?
Practically, I think for sure they can. All it takes is a couple
But
of data
practically-
centers.
I don't know,
and it's
practically
gone.
Anything can be
it's
done, but I
for
don't
you.
think they can do that
Theoretically-
because nearly the entire American population is on Facebook. Look, I mean, if you seriously, I
Yeah.
mean, they can't do what Egypt did in the middle of Tahrir. Okay, of course, Mubarak shut down,
Right.
Facebook in the middle of a revolution, and it didn't help him because it came in the back way.
I just want to remind the respectable crowd here what happened in Brazil 2 years ago when a court order shut down WhatsApp. WhatsApp is Facebook, okay?
Yeah.
For the audience at home. And they had demonstrations on the streets because apparently the cellular phones in Brazil are very expensive, so people don't call each other, but the data is
They
pretty
messenger.
cheap. So they're using WhatsApp, and a court order just shut it down, and people went out the streets rallying, which is kind of problematic. But I do think that it's something that legislators should tackle it, not only in the United States, but also in other more provincial places around the world, because this is our privacy. And if we won't work on it, we'll just lose
But look
it.
at what happened to us. All of the crypto community. We are all shouting from the roof, worldwide adoption, mass adoption, mainstream, we want mainstream. And then Facebook is coming and we're saying,
everyone's like,
no, our privacy, don't touch our privacy. Facebook is coming. Facebook will bring crypto.
Yeah, winter is coming, actually.
Facebook will bring
Winter
crypto
is
to
coming.
mainstream.
Don't speak. Do
Yeah,
not
but-
speak. Okay.
No, but I thought about this now. What might happen is that Facebook will draw the attention from the regulators, from the U.S. government, and then it will go there, all the bad attention, and maybe Bitcoin will be left alone to grow and thrive.
Not gonna happen.
I don't know. This is my very optimistic.
Pigs flying,
pigs flying, butterflies.
You always said that our mother and our grandfathers and the oldest population is not going to open a wallet and buy Bitcoin, okay?
But they are gonna use
They
Facebook.
are going to use Facebook.
It's very true, and once again,
They
to
are.
reference my 85-year-old mother, she does.
As much as we hate it, as much as we hate to hear it, we trust the giants. We trust the giants. The people trust the giants as much as we don't
But
like the idea.
people used to trust AT&T, and still the American government dismantled it at the beginning of the 20th century. I think something this radical should happen again, and the only body, the only organization that can make it is the nation state, and they're in collision. Those big firms, Google, Facebook, Amazon,
And maybe Facebook
Apple.
adoption is the thing that would work for Bitcoin. I can tell you that we just came back, BLOCKTV, from Consensus 2019. Somebody off camera there told me, actually an analyst, said that, under Donald Trump, cryptocurrency will never thrive because it really threatens his main commodity in
Yeah,
that
right.
respect.
Trump
Apropos
is a
Sherman, so that's another thing to wonder. But
People
Facebook,
just like to blame Trump for everything.
yeah, but one can
become
argue
a
that social
habit.
media giants are bigger than administrations at this point, and maybe
Yeah.
they're ones to adopt that, right? Apropos Facebook,
It's like the ECB report that they said they're looking into stable coins as a way to engage central banks with crypto through stable coins. I think eventually the mass adoption of crypto, and it's not that I like to say it, but I think that's what's going to happen. The mass adoption of crypto will be led by central banks and governments through stable coins and through bridges between
And
fiat
as you
and
know,
crypto.
and maybe it should, because let's go to our next topic, and that's this really enigma. Actually, just before Benny the blockchain bartender, some of you are empty. I think maybe we need a Benny the blockchain bartender moment. Just filling up Elon's glass. Feel free to give him whiskey.
I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah. I think you're good also, honey.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Come on.
Okay,
gonna be
everybody,
a
first of
party
all,
here.
raise your glasses to Bitfinex. Who the heck knows how they're doing it?
Just to be
Cheers.
clear, this is not iced tea, it's Hennessy.
You're an exposer. Crypto exchange Bitfinex is launching its utility token, Leo. I love the name, by the way. Today, taking it live after raising $1 billion, $1 billion worth of US dollars. Okay, Tether, apropos USDT. The token will be usable for a variety of exchange-based activities, and it's being traded against Tether, Bitcoin, Ether, US dollars, and EOS pairs. Now, the New York Attorney General, just to remind everybody, originally claimed that Bitfinex lost $850 million and subsequently used funds from Tether to secretly cover that loss. Bitfinex, of course, remember, responded by saying, no, we didn't, saying that the New York State Attorney General claims are inaccurate. It certainly has the funds to do so now with a fresh injection of money. That is by fighting that case. Quote of this. Now, first of all, how is Bitfinex doing this in your mind, guys? I mean, come on. This was a huge debacle. Something that should have disabled the name of a company entirely. Yet they managed to raise money after all of that came out. And now they're launching a utility token. What are we missing?
So,
I mean, no regulation, honey. No regulation.
I just have one question.
Okay.
What could go right here? Okay?
So,
First of all, you're saying it's fully backed. Now it's not fully backed, it's only 70% backed. And then you are raising in IEO, and we'll talk about
which
this later.
everybody can say is
Okay.
just the new name for an ICO.
ICO, right? But
Okay.
in exchange, this is a different thing. Okay? In a private IEO, they're raising money. And how much money did they raise? Okay, so there are companies which every company bought with dollars in worth of US dollars, USDT dollars.
USDT,
Okay,
yeah.
they bought 100 million each. And then there were private high net individuals that bought 1 million each. Was all the private initial offering. This is it. Companies that bought in 100 million and several high net individuals in 1 million. Who are those people? I'm sorry, regulation, I know, I'm sorry. Who are these people? Where did this money came from? Was there a KYC? Was there AML? Is there a big party of money laundering here?
Even if there were regulations,
Exactly.
they would be
Why?
considered qualified investors. And
Exactly.
nobody
But that's
would
what I'm
give
asking
a
you guys. But this doesn't seem to be phasing people playing, on Bitfinex.
this sounds like central banking. That's one. Like this entire kind of
So
ordeal.
people like being duped?
It sounds like an orchestra playing on the Titanic. Really,
But
that's what it sounds like.
Wait, hold on. You cannot ignore the fact that this number one stablecoin, USDT, has so much value, and there's been so much FUD around this for the past 2 years. And you cannot argue that Bitfinex is making a shitload of money every day from fees. And this is, I agree that this entire IAO, this entire Leo is broken from so many verticals because nobody knows, is this an Omni? Is this an ERC20 token? No one has even said where it's at, on what kind of blockchain it is. I think it's already traded as we speak, and nobody really knows where. But
it's being traded.
Yeah, but I still think that at the end of the day, I guess I don't want to have declarations, but that they are going to be solvent. They got what was it, $850 million seized or something. They have the money, they just cannot move it because there are people who are trying to bite into this so valuable stablecoin. And
That's the
Silicon Valley-
that's the actual definition of a bubble. That's
It
the
is a
actual
bubble,
definition. It's like
We got the money, I just can't touch it.
It's like somebody's trying to describe how Ponzi schemes work. Now, I'm not saying that they're doing a Ponzi. I have no idea what they're not. But if I would have tried to engage in this kind of misbehavior, this is the way how I would have explained it. Listen, I'm a person of written stuff. I'd really like to see those money transfers, and
I agree.
And as it was said here before,
It's already
said before, where did this money came from? Who are those huge investors? I don't have $100 million in my pocket,
Exactly.
or even $1 million. I would like to have them, but you know what I can do? I can say that I do have $100 million. And you know what I can do else? I can write down that I just transferred $100 million to you. And who'll check me?
From a legal perspective, from the lawyer's perspective, I have to say this is very interesting to see the trend of the New York Attorney General and the judge, Mr. Cohen, that decided to let Bitfinex carry on their business. Even
what can they really do though? But what can they really do?
There was an injunction. There was an injunction, and then Bitfinex motioned to have them sort of modify the injunction to let them carry on their usual business. And they were granted this modification.
Maybe because they're...
And this is big, this is huge in my eyes because, I don't know, the New York court, I mean, decided to modify this injunction to let them, with a suspicion of covering, secretly covering losses of $850 million to issue a coin and to carry on their business. This is crazy. This is a crazy
what does it show, do you think, guys?
That shows you that courts and generally, I would say the U.S. approach is softening in a big way. And
that I agree.
I don't think so. I think they do not know how to handle it.
I disagree.
They do not know how to regulate it. They do not know how to treat it, and I tell you why.
They see the potential. They see the economic potential.
Where is their license? All those exchanges, do they have license?
Some of them.
Do they have license in the United States?
Some
There's
have
a New York
Bitcoin
license called
the Bit license.
The Bit license, right?
But they do. Some of them do.
In the United States,
do.
Bitfinex, do they have license?
I think they have money service business in some states. I'm not sure.
I mean, one can argue it shows the maturity of the market, but I tend to agree. I mean, it's so highly questionable that people are saying, and with that we're going to move forward, that it's essentially shows that the market is mature, that they are accepting it as a mature market and giving them some leeway. How long it will last, who knows. Our next stop, though, folks, is Europe. Let's move from the States, where the European Central Bank, ECB, has stated that cryptocurrencies do not have implications on monetary policy, apropos, or factor into the real economy in a report released this month. Sounds like there's this big battle going on, and everything's moving forward, but then, of course, governments arise. In the report dubbed Crypto Assets Implications for Financial Stability, Monetary Policy, and Payments and Market Infrastructure, ECB looks at the potential impact of digital currencies on economic developments and monetary policy. The bank specifically states that such implications could occur should current cryptos become a credible substitute for cash and deposits. And I stress, should, they said in the report. Well, currently, they do not fulfill the functions of money. The bank further says the cryptocurrency's deployment remains limited, with a small number of merchants ready to allow purchases of goods and services. Do we think central banks will ever change their approach towards cryptos? Because Sherman said what he did. Here are the European banks saying, guys, if it becomes money, but we're warning you, this is currently not money.
Because it's in their best interest to say it. It's not that they actually think it. It's just that's what their consultants told them to say in order to maybe make this whole crypto thing fade away or go away, because it's in their best interest
you and I, 'cause
to do it.
We can say that, but people with pensions and money in the bank and whatnot, they listen to this.
I'm sorry to tell you, but they are right. As if right now, Bitcoin is not a currency.
It's not there
the
yet.
government does not think as if it's a
currency.
currency.
Who cares what the government thinks?
We have to care what the government
if it's a currency.
but we don't have to agree
It's
with
not
it. We can
powerful
fight
enough
it.
to
When
replace
was the last time you
anything
used
yet.
except
It's true.
HBO? When was the last time you used crypto? Even
I use it fairly often, actually.
There's not a lot of places you can use it, and they're right in this report.
For overseas transfers, this is the best way.
They are saying there is not a lot of ways to spend it. There's not a lot of services you can buy it. They are right. But what they're saying we need regulation. They're saying we need better accounting for cryptocurrency, and they are saying we will keep on monitor it. This is their job.
Yeah.
We will keep on monitor it, and we think that it may change. This is what we all think. We all, even those of us who has a lot of crypto, does not use it. We want to hold it because we know that sometimes it will become a currency and we will be worth a lot of money.
Pizza.
Exactly. So they are right. I know you don't like it, but they are right.
That's why we still have to rely on fiat money, on stable coins that are pegged to fiat money, because we cannot bear the uncertainty of
If
buying
they
a
are backed
pizza
with fiat
and having
money.
it worth, I don't know, millions of dollars in several
Years later.
People,
I mean, seriously.
you know, you're gonna need a lot of Clonex supply in this world to make this work.
Which, by the way, one day you'll be able to buy on cryptos.
I think that either way, whether the European Central Bank says A or B or C, it doesn't matter. Bitcoin doesn't care. Bitcoin doesn't give a shit about what they think or say, and yeah, we'll see what happens in the future.
I think that I have to relate to what Egon said, because I think it shifts the responsibility to us.
It does.
It shifts the responsibility to us because what they're doing is they're actually referring to the situation as it is today. But I think our responsibility is to make Bitcoin work.
Okay, last but not least, we're
Amen
about
to
to
that.
finish this. It's going to be a quick prediction, whether you want it or not. We have come off an amazing bloody couple of weeks for Bitcoin prices, apropos. Yes, it took a dip over the weekend, but it seems to be correcting itself. Are we going to the moon? How do you think Bitcoin will reach at the end of the month?
First of all, I want to quote Manny Rosenfeld, who said, "Wake me up when it gets to 9,000."
Okay.
Meaning
That's a Bitcoin ambassador in the
it's like everybody who's I've been talking to the past few weeks, is they were all cool when Bitcoin dipped to $3,000 to $3,200. They were all very cool, but it seems that a sigh of relief was released on the past 2 or 3 weeks.
Right.
And for your question, I have no idea, and I think nobody does.
Does anybody want to predict this?
I place my bets on a support line somewhere around 7,000.
7? Okay.
Sorry.
This whole
By the end of the month. By the end of the month.
support resistance is just, you know, it's beyond me to. The people
You know
actually
you want to
believe in
do
this.
it. You want to do it.
I don't want to do it. I have no idea. It doesn't matter. One Bitcoin equals
Exactly.
one Bitcoin.
is one
Exactly.
Bitcoin. That's
My
it.
best
That's
prediction
it.
is doesn't really matter.
It doesn't really matter.
I don't know.
Okay,
I
tried
still
to
pay
play.
my rent in fiat, so I'm sorry. I do.
Yeah, I'm with you.
We'll halving in exactly
I do
1 year,
care.
and then we'll see.
And then we'll see. Raise your glasses. This was a fabulous blockchain and booze. Thank you so much.
Cheers.
This was it for our social BLOCKTV. Do not forget to check us out on every social platform you have. We're not going away. Social platform being Facebook,
Yeah,
Twitter,
Viking
whatnot.
House.
We'll be right back.